Look closer. How many people around you are already on autopilot? Morning, alarm, scroll, coffee, commute, smile on command, work on command, consume on command, sleep, repeat. You call it normal. But normal can be a mask, a soft cage, a loop that feels like safety. Somewhere in the crowd, a person stops, not dramatically, just a half step late, like their soul lagged behind their body, and the city keeps moving, as if the pause never happened. What if the scariest prison is the one that rewards you for staying inside? Tonight, we name the spell NPC living, a life written by defaults, a life lived in someone else's script, and then we break it. Don't be like an NPC. Create your own life. In a bronze-lit kingdom called Echohold, the streets never changed. At dawn, the same bells rang. At noon, the same laughter rose. At dusk, the same prayers floated into the fog. The baker baked the same loaf. The guard walked the same 12 steps. The merchant offered the same 3 deals. Not because they chose it, but because the world chose for them. In Echohold, there was a book of rolls. It lay beneath the palace, chained to stone. Every citizen had a page. Every page had lines. And every line was rehearsed until it felt like identity. One day, a young scribe named Leora copied the book, letter by letter, hour by hour, until her eyes burned. Then she saw it. In the margin of her own page, a blank space, a silence, a place where no line was written. She lifted her quill, and the air tightened. Candles dimmed. The ink trembled. She wrote one sentence that wasn't assigned. I choose. The kingdom didn't punish her. It forgot her. People walked past as if she was missed. Friends spoke to the space beside her face. Even mirrors refused to hold her reflection. Because the spell of Echohold had one rule. Anything unscripted becomes invisible, until it becomes real enough to rewrite the world. Leora kept writing anyway, not to be seen, but to become a person. That's the fantasy warning. NPCs defend the book. Players write in the margins. History has its own version of Echohold. It doesn't use magic. It uses systems. When factories rose, time became a ruler. Whistles replaced sunrises. Schedules replaced instincts. A human life could be measured in shifts, quotas, and numbered floors. In the early industrial cities, crowds moved like machinery. Same streets, same doors, same motions. Not because people were weak, but because repetition is efficient, and efficiency is persuasive. Then came the assembly line, a miracle of productivity and a quiet theft of wholeness. One worker tightened one bolt, all day, every day, until the mind stopped asking why the bolt mattered. Even language changed. People became hands, units, labor, as if the soul was an extra feature. And when nations went to war, The pattern intensified. Uniforms, ranks, chants, marching that turned bodies into one body. The most obedient crowd is not the safest. It's the easiest to steer. Every era has scripts. Sometimes they are laws. Sometimes they are traditions. Sometimes they are invisible expectations that punish you with laughter, exile, or silence. But history also shows the counterforce, the outliers, the ones who refused the default, writers who described forbidden futures, scientists who challenged sacred certainty, workers who organized, not just to survive, but to be treated as human again. Look at any empire at its peak. It builds roads for movement and stories for obedience. It tells you what success looks like. It tells you what failure deserves. And soon, people police themselves. That's why NPC isn't an insult. It's a warning label. Because the moment your life is only reaction, history is writing you as scenery. NPC living isn't new, it's just updated. And the cure has always been the same. Wake up and author a line that the machine didn't approve. Now imagine the same story in Neon. In the cyberpunk city of Vantanine, every thought has a shadow. Cameras don't just watch streets, they watch micro-expressions. Ads don't just sell products, they sell identities. You wake up and your wall displays your optimal mood plan. Your glasses highlight what to buy. Your feed predicts what you'll believe. A gentle voice says, recommended choice. And most people obey, because the recommendation feels like relief. Citizens earn comfort credits for compliance. Say the approved phrase, your rent drops. Share the approved outrage, your profile rises. Wear the approved style, doors unlock faster. So personalities become templates. Dreams become subscriptions. Even rebellion becomes a brand, until you realize the system sells you your own escape. The city calls it user experience, but it's a leash made of convenience. Then one night, a woman named Cade removes her neural ribbon, just for 10 minutes. No feed, no prompts, no digital applause. Silence hits her like gravity. Her hands shake, not from withdrawal, from recognition. For the first time in years, she hears her own mind. Messy, unoptimized, alive. And once she sees it, she can't unsee it. Every notification is a tug on the collar. Every "for you" is a corridor with the exits removed. The city doesn't hate you. It just doesn't need you awake. She walks into a crowd and sees the overlays above their heads. Agree, consume, update, smile. And she understands the horror. NPCs don't need chains. They need constant input. Cade turns off the city inside her skull and becomes a threat. Not because she is violent, but because she is unpredictable. In Vantanine, the ultimate crime is authorship. Here's the uncomfortable truth. An NPC life is not a personality type. It's a training program. It starts small. You copy jokes to fit in. You copy opinions to avoid conflict. You copy goals because everyone claps for them. Then the copying becomes a lifestyle. And one day you look up and realize you've been living on default settings. NPC living has symptoms. You feel busy but not fulfilled. You feel informed but not wise. You feel connected but not known. You make choices that don't feel like yours. When you stop choosing, someone else will choose for you and call it your identity. So how do you create your own life? Not with a slogan, with scary, simple actions. First, stand in silence. No phone, no music, no noise. Let your mind speak without an audience. At first, it will be uncomfortable. That's the cage rattling. Second, pick a value that is not trendy. Something you would keep even if nobody rewarded you. Truth, craft, loyalty, courage, service. Then prove it with one daily decision. Third, write one line that the world didn't hand you. A project, a habit, a boundary, a conversation you've been avoiding. A small risk that says, I am here. Fourth, accept that creating your life will cost you. Comfort, approval, certain friends, certain versions of yourself. Fifth, choose your environment like it's programming. If you live inside feeds that numb you, you will become numb. If you live around people who build, you will start building. Your inputs become your personality, so guard your inputs like borders. Sixth, practice discomfort on purpose. Cold mornings, hard workouts, difficult books, honest feedback. Not to suffer, but to prove you can move without dopamine's permission. Creation is a muscle, and NPC life is muscle atrophy. Start tiny, but start today. Players don't get praised at the beginning. They get questioned, mocked, misunderstood. But here's the trade. NPC life feels safe and slowly makes you disappear. Authorship feels dangerous and slowly makes you real. You don't need to be loud. You need to be deliberate. Because the most radical act in any era is a human who decides. Right now, this video ends, and the loop waits for you like a warm bed. It will offer you the same next scroll, the same next distraction, the same next day that looks like the last. And if you accept it, nothing dramatic will happen. That's the trick. NPC life doesn't explode, it fades. So do this instead. Pause. Look at your week ahead. Find one moment that belongs to you and defend it like a kingdom. Use it to build something. Write, train, learn, apologize, leave, begin, create. Not because it's aesthetic, but because it's yours. And if you feel fear, good. Fear is the doorway where your old script ends. The system can predict trends, but it cannot predict a soul that chooses. So make one choice tonight that a default you would never make. One honest step, one authored sentence. Don't be like an NPC. Create your own life.